So a tree's DNA would be corresponding with the makeup of what it accumulates the shape of its leaves to be, or the makeup of how that is what it actually creates, out of the makeup of the DNA. You can look at the DNA and you can see the makeup of the tree of what makes it up, makes what it is. But you know that the DNA creates the leaves that you see from the tree. So you're knowing exactly what it corresponds with. It corresponds with the makeup of the tree and everything like that we visibly see is entwined with the DNA of what projects the image of what makes it, what makes the image of what it corresponds in. So these are corresponding images of the DNA of which it makes up the image. If it makes up the image of the tree of what it is, then it is part of the DNA of which makes that up. So we could just look at the strip of DNA. That's not looking at the tree itself of the DNA of which it produces of that sort of category. So the DNA which is in that to make that happen, how do we know which molecules are actually making, or which strands from the DNA are actually making the tree look the way it looks? Which molecules or strands of DNA would look, you know what I mean, a certain way just by its makeup of its DNA to create itself to look a certain way, that we could see an image of a leaf in different sort of leaves on different trees, or when it first blooms, how it looks different than when it does fully grown. It's all a process of the tree's blooming process and cycle. But what I'm trying to say is that it's all the makeup of, how it's designed. It's in its design that it creates itself like that. And it's through the DNA, but which parts of the DNA are in the makeup of how the tree looks and grows in the fashion of which it does. See, that's what is the mystery, is because how much do we actually know about the DNA and the sequence of which makes it look the way it does, and which makes the forms of the leaves the way it is, the color of the leaves, the thickness of the leaf, the little cell walls of the leaves, and everything like that to go in accordance to all this. And I'm going to use this for my second book. I'm going to write, I'm going to listen to it and write what I find out from the information of when I'm talking about this. I can also write it into the book, but I can also write just out of thin air of what I, come up with, and I can write it down too. But I'm just going to eventually create another book, but it's not going to be for a year or two yet, because I got to save up the money for it, and I got to market the other book, which is going to cost $1,000 to market this book. So I got to save up for that. And this second book is going to just take a long time, because I'm not going to be like writing as much as, like, I got to make sure it's not anything like the same information as what I put in the Words of Ways, the first Words of Ways. So this will be in accordance to the new information about different things that I incorporate into the book. All right, anyway. All right, yep. Have a good day, girls. All right, bye.